Well, I found out recently that some of my little cousins might be watching the show. So we're going to make sure that this is little cousin friendly. So I tried to figure out what would my little cousins think is funny. And then I blanked because I haven't had to be funny in a really long time. But then I remembered, well, they're staying at my parents' house. And one of my favorite topics and people to make fun of is my dad. And then I remembered at our show, we perform weekly with the Improv Professionals performs weekly on Mondays on Highwire. That oh no, socially distant improv. I'm sorry, we perform weekly on Mondays with socially distant improv. I remembered that we ended up talking about fishing. And I went, fishing. My dad has two daughters, just two daughters. And sometimes, people will ask me, do you think he wanted a boy? And I'm like, I don't think it mattered to him. I think he would have done the exact same thing he did with us as he would with a boy. I don't think it would have changed his parenting style or goals in the slightest. My dad was really adamant about us learning how to fish. My dad loves fishing. He does it for fun. I don't quite understand why, but he does it for fun. He thinks it's fun. He likes doing it. So me and my sister had to learn how to fish. Now, for most people, learning how to fish means that you go to a lake or a pond or somewhere and you cast a line out into the body of water. But no. You see, my dad didn't want us going to the body of water until we already had the ability to cast. We had to know how to cast the line out before then. So we would, in the summer months and spring leading up to summer, be drilled in our backyard, practice casting. Just standing there with the fishing pole, you would put a weight on the end of it and you'd cast it out and reel it back in. And he would tell you if you were doing a good job or not. Now, I am not the brightest, especially when it comes to how to move your body. I am not athletic. I have no inclinations in that way. I cannot dance. I'm just bad at it. So I never quite got the casting motion down well enough, but it was good enough that he would take me out in the boat with him. Going out in the canoe with my dad was a really big thing. And we all looked forward to it. Me, cousins, we all really wanted to do it because going out with Mr. Dunn, Uncle Rob, Dad in the canoe was really, really important. Except once you got out in the canoe, it wasn't as much fun as the build up to it. Because you see, he would go fishing in the morning. It's one of the best times to fish. That's when the fish are biting. It's in the morning. And when we say in the morning, we don't mean like 9 a.m. or like Mel's version of the morning, which is whenever I wake up. It's like 5 a.m. and you're being jostled awake out of your sleep because it's your special day to go in the canoe. So you'd be jostled awake out of your sleeping bag. You'd wake up and be like, oh, okay, we're going fishing. All right, you need to be awake enough to be able to respond to the things he was saying to you, which will be coming in rapid fire. You need to do this. You need to put on your life jacket. Okay, you need to grab that pole. Not that pole, your pole. No, my pole and your pole. No, grab both poles. No, get the worms. No, not those worms. Those aren't the right worms. Get the other worms. And then it's time to get in the boat. I still am nervous getting into and out of watercraft because at 5 a.m., I was not awake enough to get in and out of a watercraft. I was not ready for getting in and out of that canoe. Again, not exactly the most coordinated person in the world. So I would make the boat go like this. And that is not what you want to do. Sit still. Now move forward. Forward, are you sitting still? Which one am I supposed to do? I don't know which one I'm supposed to be doing. Oh my gosh. So you clamber forward while trying not to jostle the boat, inevitably jostling the boat, inevitably being told that you're doing wrong. But anyway, eventually you get out onto the water. So now you're out in the water. It's really nice, right? Floating, it's calm. And that is when you got to do the best part of fishing because you would get your brown sugar cinnamon powder. This is an essential part of fishing. You have to have the brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. And you finally get your brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. And then you would cast your line out of the boat right into the water to see if you could catch anything. And then you would sit there for hours. And if you were lucky, well, that's the confusing part, isn't it? Because if you were lucky, something would happen. You would actually catch a fish. But that then meant that you had to get the fish off the hook. And that meant that you had to reel in the fish very nicely and turn it around, not swing it around, because then the fish would slap him in the face and he's not going to like that. You had to wing it around so that it would reach his hands and he could get the fish off the hook. And that was inevitably met with a lot more annoyance, grunting, all these noises. So sometimes you wish that you didn't get anything because you didn't want to have to listen to all the grunting. And sometimes you would wish you got something because you wanted to get back to the dock and be able to say to your cousins, oh my gosh, I caught something. So it was always this very hectic, confusing, mixed emotional bag. That's what fishing was. I haven't had a fishing license in years. I haven't gotten one. I haven't really gone fishing. But you see, the thing is, I did learn how to get a fish off a hook, was taught that. So now what ends up happening is, as an adult without a fishing license, whenever I am with my dad and he is teaching my little cousins or the neighbor kids how to fish, and he's teaching them how to cast out of the lake, which, by the way, he is much nicer to them than he ever was to me. So enjoy yourselves, you three. But getting the fish off the hook is now one of the jobs I have. If I accidentally happen to be too close to him when there is somebody who has caught a fish. And what I have learned is that when kids have fish on hooks, it's dangerous. It's fun, because the kid's kind of freaked out and the fish is definitely freaked out. So what ends up happening now is that once a child gets a fish on the hook, they'll come over to my dad to get it off, but he's inevitably working with somebody else because they've got to get a worm on the hook. And he'll go, Caroline, I'll help them. And I'm like, so I have to try and grab the fish. Now, just like my dad, I go, you gotta hold it still. We're waving around. It's gonna hit me in the face. I don't want to get hit in the face. I'm becoming like my father. I end up catching the fish out of midair. And now the thing is, when fish are scared, a lot of them have like the spiny fins. They'll stick them up like, you don't have to be a puffer fish to have spines on you. So you would get like stuck in the finger a little bit. And you're like, ow. And then you're trying to get the hook out of the fish's mouth. And inevitably the kid goes, and you're like, and it gets stabbed into your thumb. So now not only do you have a hook in your thumb, but the hook definitely had some fish on it and definitely had some worm on it. So now you've got that lovely souvenir for the rest of your vacation. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I don't fish anymore, but I'm still fish adjacent. Anyway, I hope my little cousins have fun if they're watching this. And that's it